You might have heard the famous Peter Drucker quote, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." Many times we think that this means that culture is far more important than strategy. But in the same way that we could say, people eat eggs for breakfast, this quote requires both culture and strategy. Which leads me to my addendum to this quote: strategy is the menu. So, what is strategic planning? Strategic planning is simply strategy plus planning. Many times today, however, our strategic planning is heavy on the planning and light on the strategy. So, what is strategy? Michael Porter, the strategy guru and professor at Harvard Business School, says that strategy defines the company's distinctive approach to competing and their competitive advantages. So, all strategy is based on understanding competition, and a good strategy is one that creates unique value for a particular set of customers and captures some of that value for the firm. So, what is strategy? My definition of strategy, based on Michael Porter, is this: strategy is the capabilities required to win in the chosen market and achieve organizational results. A strategic plan should have these components: a compelling value proposition, how the company competes and wins in the market, the results that the company desires to achieve, a method to manage and measure the key business activities that implement the strategy, and finally, a set of initiatives to improve the capabilities of the organization. The visionary results strategy model looks like this. First, we have the mission and vision of the company, which answers these questions. Who does the organization serve? What problem does the organization solve? Why is this problem important to the organization? And then what does the organization want the future to look like? From that mission and vision, we do a competitive environment analysis, which consists of three things. One, competitive benchmarking to industry peers, things like profitability, revenue per employee, cost of goods sold, overhead, and taxes. An industry analysis, things like the industry growth, the key competitive factors in the industry, a pestle analysis, and a five forces analysis. And finally, a competitive analysis determining how the organization will compete and win in the chosen market. These can be things like using blue ocean tools, scenario planning, or a strategy curve. Visionary results will complete this competitive environmental analysis for an organization doing strategic planning. From that competitive environmental analysis, we establish two things. One of them is the unique value proposition: who the customers are of the organization, what products or services the organization sells, the pricing model and methodology of the organization, and finally, what I call the three whys. The why do they buy, the need, differentiation, why should they buy from that organization, and then finally, why should they trust the organization? What are the organization's brand promises? Also stemming from the competitive environment analysis is the desired organizational results. These organizational results can be something derived from the triple bottom line, balanced scorecard, or Baldrige results, but they include things like the financial results that the company has, things like profitability or growth. The results in the market, results for the customers or the brand promises, and then societal results and workforce results. The organizational results and the unique value proposition create the strategic capabilities matrix. This capabilities matrix shows how the different parts of the value chain, every organization from Amazon to the smallest mom and pop shop, has a value chain that at a minimum includes how they sell their product or services, how they deliver those product or services, how they collect the money that's owed to them, and then finally how they govern the organization, things like filing taxes and hiring people and training those people. The capabilities matrix includes the rows such as what are the outcomes, the measurable outcomes for each of those columns? What are the key processes that must occur on a routine basis in order to sell, deliver, collect, and govern the organization? What are the organizational policies? A good example of this is a policy of 0% commission versus 100% commission. What is the organizational structure? Who reports to who? How is information flowing inside the organization, and how are decisions made? What are the skills and abilities of the people required to sell, deliver, collect, and govern? And then finally, what are the tools and resources that are needed for each of the 4 elements of the value chain? This strategic capabilities matrix is then used in order to look at the usual business activities and the strategic initiatives of the firm. The usual business activities are created by pulling out the key processes from the strategic capabilities matrix and understanding what are the key process indicators, the measurable things that tell us if that process is performing well. And finally, if it's a key process, it needs to be documented so it can be repeated and trained. And then strategic initiatives. Strategic initiatives come from comparing the required strategic capabilities versus the current strategic capabilities. That creates a capability gap between the required and the current, and initiatives are projects that add or close that capability gap. This strategy model results in a strategic plan that looks something like this: the purpose and vision of the organization, their value proposition, the results that they have, the strategic initiatives, and finally, the key processes. Visionary Results accomplishes this strategic planning model by doing a strategy summit, a 3 half-day session that will help you map the path to success for your business.